Okay, so now we're ready to start on our lighting, which we don't have a lot that we're going to organize right now. We got some DMX cables, mini laser maybe. Let's see what we can dig up here. So first thing I want to point out, it's a really good idea to go through your inventory and make sure you keep a list of all your cables and everything, so that way when you go to gigs and shows, or especially if you rent out your equipment, you can kind of keep up with what you've got and what you're missing, and then as you get more and more cables, then you can kind of keep up with it. And the other good reason to go through it is because you never know what you're going to find that you're missing. I have been missing this little remote. It goes to my little micro laser that I've got, a little gobo laser. I have been missing this for almost a year now, and I thought I had left it at a gig a year ago, and it turns out it was buried at the bottom of my sound box underneath all my XLR and sound cables. So it's a good idea to go through your equipment every year, because you never know what you're going to find. I've got my APC Mini, which I don't think it's going to fit. I want to get another hard case for this and my DMX dongle to go in without the boxes. So that will be in another video. Okay, so I have this guy, which is actually come in handy, but I actually need to find the other half of this, because I'm not sure where it ended up. I think I know, and again, this is why we're doing this, so we can come across things that we're missing. But this is just a basic on-off control. It's got a serial port out, which is kind of like a VGA cable, or a VGA port, excuse me. It's got a serial port out that goes to a power box, and basically you flip your switches, or you push in your buttons, and it turns the unit on or off on the power box. Very simplistic. It's really good for old school lighting, lamp lighting that's just on off, or strobe lights. I use it for several things, and I've actually used it to turn on and off entire house lighting that I might use at the beginning of a show or at the beginning of a dance, and then when I get ready to use my personal lighting or lasers, do a laser show, I can just turn off the button and everything's off, and I'm ready to go with mine. It comes in very handy though, and I got this cheap. You can get these really cheap nowadays because they're actually phasing out, but they are still useful. So see if you can pick one up, because you never know when you're going to need it. So I found the cables that go with that elation unit that I showed you, and there's quite a few of them. But I'm still missing the power box, which I know is around here somewhere. Here's the thing. Here's what I wanted to put in here. Things like O-clamps. This is a great box for clamps, DMX cables. Also want to show you this too, and I'll probably actually demonstrate it in a separate video, but another reason that these O-clamps are fantastic. Sure, you can hang your lights on a 1.5 inch to 2 inch trussing, but you can actually use these if your speakers have M8 fly points for actually, if you use M8 eye bolts to fly the speakers or hang them. If they have those M8 fly points on the speakers, let's say usually they have 2 fly points on the top of the speaker, you've got a mount for a T-bar, so you can actually mount your lights to the T-bar. So if you do that, then you can actually hang your lights on the T-bar that is now mounted to the top of your speaker. And that's actually great if you're in tight spaces, or especially if you're like me currently and have very limited transportation room. You can actually mount your lights to the top of the speakers and have all your fixtures in one, and have to carry less stands and trussing. We've got our LED rain. This is just a simple par. I need to get some more of these. My Revo 4. I really need to find a case for this, but I think it's going to be a big one. Okay, this is something very good to have if you run any kind of lighting. It doesn't matter if you're a mobile DJ or lighting tech, whatever have you. These are really good to have if you have multiple fixtures and or a long DMX line. And I mean, that is the total length of DMXing from your controller all the way to your last light. So that total distance. These are called DMX Terminator. and basically all they are is a male DMX plug or XLR plug, and inside here, bridging two of the prongs, is a resistor. And what this does is exactly what it's titled. It terminates the DMX line. You plug this into the DMX output of your last light fixture in your DMX line, and it terminates the signal, so it keeps it from overreacting, basically. So what this does is it basically tightens the signal, it closes the loop, closes the line, and basically helps your DMX signal to operate and function the way it should when you have multiple fixtures or you have a long DMX line. So it keeps it from going haywire and everything, basically. And I've got two of these, so I'm going to put both of them into one of my handy dandy organizer. So 1, 2. Cool. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to put in here is the obvious answer, DMX cables. So I think that's going to be it for our lighting now. For now. So we've taken inventory of what came out of our lighting box, and we put some things in this little toolbox. So here is a case that I bought on Amazon. I think for about 40 bucks. And it's actually the perfect size for not one, but both of my RGB lasers. Now, unfortunately, unlike the other cases I got from Harbor Freight, this did not have pick and pluck foam. This came with about, 5 inches, a 5-inch thick, just solid foam piece. So I kind of had to hand carve it myself, which didn't come out terrible, but didn't come out really the way I wanted it to either, because I needed foam on the bottom, so I had to carve all the way through the foam, and then take the chunk that came out and cut off and shave down about a 1-inch to 1.5-inch thick, and then put that back in so they would rest on it. So right now, as you can kind of see, I've got both the units in here, and the tops are pretty much flush with the top of the bottom of the case, or the top of the foam piece. And the only thing sticking up is their mounting brackets, which makes it very easy for me to grab. I can turn the bracket and grab it and pull it out. And they also slip in very easily as well, but they're very snug and tight in there. And when I close the lid, it doesn't take hardly any effort. I don't have to force the lid closed, so it's not pressing down on them, but it is snug. So this thing can get knocked around a lot, and it's going to keep my lasers pretty safe. So now I've got a case for not one, but both of my laser fixtures, which I was more worried about transporting these. I do want some more cases for my other lighting fixtures if I can get them, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult to find them. Okay, I got the new case that I'm going to put my DMX dongle and the APC mini controller in, along with all the USB cables that go with it. So I want to show you real quick how I do this. Same way as I did the wireless microphone system and the other microphone case. But let's see here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay this out. Okay, that looks to be about pretty much one row on every side there. Okay, now what if I did it this way? Let's see. I still do one row there. Let's see if I did that. That might be a little bit more of a snug fit, which is kind of what we want. So now we got the brand names and everything right set up, so it looks nice and neat. Alright, well, let's get started. So let's see. Okay, so now I got my APC Mini, I got the my DMX dongle. So now we're going to make a little pocket for the USB cables that go in here. But I need to figure out first how exactly I want to do that. So I think what I'm going to do is take this guy out here. Probably about the same size as the my DMX dongle, but maybe a little bit bigger. A little bit taller perhaps. Like that. So now we've got our my DMX case, more or less. We have our APC Mini, our my DMX dongle, and our USB cables to run them and connect them to the computers. And now they're all in one case. So instead of having to take the entire lighting tote or take these individual things out of the lighting tote when I don't need everything that's in the lighting tote for a show, for instance, if I'm only doing lasers, then I can just grab this, grab the laser case, grab my lighting case that's got the lighting cables that you saw earlier, and hit the road. I don't have to take that huge Rubbermaid bin. So let's put the lid on this one. So right now that does it for lighting. And if you haven't already seen our previous video where we've sorted out our audio cables and DI boxes, microphones, wireless microphone systems, all that good stuff, be sure to check those videos out too.